So, man, was the idea to get a scholarship, or what were your thought process, or were you just playing ball?
Oh no, we was playing to get a scholarship, buddy. The Clinton-Earl household did not have funds to go ahead and pay for college, so it was you will get a scholarship, and so both Cam and I knew that. My older brother, he enlisted in the Navy, and he did that, but I had no desire to be in the military whatsoever. It was just a random call that ended up getting me there. But yeah, both of us, Cam and I, we both knew that we were getting scholarships to go to college, get our degree, and also to play football. But that was a non-negotiable. That was going to happen.
Join me, Jeremy Swick, on Into the Unknown, a podcast that delves into the personal journeys, stories, and experiences of individuals across diverse professions. As a historian by trade, I firmly believe that our personal histories shape our present and offer valuable insights into our paths ahead. With that being said, let's get into it. On this episode of Into the Unknown, I am joined with a very special guest, Aaron Clinton-Earl. How are you doing today, Ace?
Hey, we great, Jay Swick. How you living?
Hey man, I can't complain. I'm looking forward to talking to you tonight. Just looking forward to get into it.
Let's do it.
So I like to kick off the show and talk about the importance of networking. How do we know each other, bro?
Uh, I would say that dates back to middle school, bro. Templeton Middle School. I don't know how it started, bro, but was at your house one day, and next thing you know, we was locked in. Me, you, and Cam.
It's wild, man. It's wild, man. That being that almost like 20 years ago, it's crazy how long you end up knowing people, kind of your whole life at that point.
Oh yeah, definitely knew you. You know, mom always had the chocolate pudding in the fridge, bro. We was down there playing Mario Kart, bumming every weekend. It was a good time, man. So it's been good ever since, and you've been my dog since then. What was that? 13 years old? It's crazy.
Bro, it's crazy, man. We're in our early 30s, I should say. And it's kind of cool to see friendships last that long. And obviously, we'll get into it, but we've kind of all been all over the country, really.
Oh yeah, definitely. All over, man. Bouncing around, base to base, Air Force stuff, even out of this country. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we're making it work.
Absolutely, man. So, I want to know a little bit more about you, that comic book issue origin story. Who's Ace?
All right. Well, Ace is a kid. Well, a man now, but born and raised Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Grew up there. Had an interesting childhood. We lived in Milwaukee, but we went to school out in the burbs, out in the Waukesha County area. So Sussex Hamilton stand up. But definitely went out there. Once that was complete, from elementary school, middle school, high school, ended up going to the Air Force Academy for college. Got to do that for a little bit, and then been in the Air Force. So been in there since 2016. Um, about to hit year 10 now, so it's crazy. Time is flying. But yeah, definitely got some siblings. Got a twin brother, Cam. Obviously, you know Cam. You know Travis too, my older brother. And so yeah, man, that's a little bit about me, comic book style.
Yeah, man. It's one of those things. So, what brought you from Hamilton to the Air Force Academy? That's not usually a typical jump.
Hey man, they gave me a call one day after it was actually the Packers was playing. They were playing, I think, the Cowboys one year back in 2010. I want to say they gave me a call sometime in October and was like they saw my film and they were interested in having me go out there to visit and everything. And so they did that. Um, I actually did not take an official visit out to the Air Force Academy because the ACT was kicking my butt. So definitely had to take that over quite a few times. And then I ended up getting selected. And so I made it out to the Air Force Academy actually for the first time going to basic training. in July of 2011. So that's kind of how that story went, man. It was a bunch. I was committed to another school and then decommitted to go to the Air Force Academy after everything worked out. So it was honestly just, I think it's nothing but God's hands on my life with that. So it worked out. We're here now, and it's been great ever since.
Absolutely, man. And I don't know if we mentioned it, but you played football in high school, among other sports. But that was kind of your main sport, at that and track, to be honest, man.
Yeah, it was track. Definitely loved track. Shout out Chris Arrell. That was my dog running. And then, we held it down for track, but football was definitely the main thing. We would go football. Dude, got a story for you, boy. But we would do football 100% every year. Really started taking off junior year, and then senior year had a great year. And so that ended up kind of turning things for me in my favor. But track was definitely a top sport in football.
So, man, was the idea to get a scholarship, or what were your thought process, or were you just playing ball?
Oh no, we was playing to get a scholarship, buddy. The Clinton-Earl household did not have funds to go ahead and pay for college. So it was, you will get a scholarship. And so both Cam and I knew that. My older brother, he enlisted in the Navy, and he did that, but I had no desire to be in the military whatsoever. It was just a random call that ended up getting me there. But yeah, both of us, Cam and I, we both knew that we were getting scholarships to go to college, get our degree, and also to play football. But that was a non-negotiable. That was going to happen.
Being around, as you mentioned, the first day you showed up for your, I guess, in-person visit was going to basic. What was that experience like?
Hey, it was crazy. So I'll even rewind before that. So leading up to going out to basic training, there was a possibility that I would not have gotten, that I was not going to be going to the Air Force Academy because I had childhood asthma. But prior to that, Cam has asthma. So he needed to go and get an inhaler, but they ended up putting it on my records. And so that was on my records instead of Cameron's records. And so literally it was a nightmare trying to figure out whether I was going to go. The academy flagged it the day prior to me flying out. And so just about all day, the day prior, we were trying to get to the bottom of that, which thankfully we ended up doing that. But getting there, I got picked up by a pilot, and he's my sponsor dad, is what they call them. And so he picked me up from the airport, went back to his house. There was three other cadets, or basic, cadets, whatever you want to call us, that was staying at his house as well that night to host us. So they fed us, but everybody's calling him sir, calling his wife ma'am. I'm not used to that. So it was just a culture shock for me. And then actually getting there the next day, all of your coaches, the whole football staff was there to welcome us there. But right after they left, that's when it was on and popping, man, getting yelled at and all that kind of stuff. And so it wasn't too bad. You ended up making the greatest memories, the best friends going through those tough times. So the prep school was 3 weeks basic training, and then the actual Air Force Academy was 6 weeks.
So once you get out, man, you start football right away, or how does that work at the academies? I know they're a little different than the more typical college football landscape.
Yeah, so you actually are starting football in basic training. So you have some free periods during basic training where any intercollegiate athlete gets to go and be with their team and do whatever else. And so we would go to football practice a couple of times out of the week. And you think about it, you're already tired, you're fatigued, waking up early, going to bed late, working out, doing all kind of stuff all day. And then you go to football practice towards the end of the day, and they run you through a whole workout. And so you're legit working out circuits. Coach Getty, shout out to him too. But like our strength coach will have us going through workouts. And then you would do that for about an hour, give you some, protein and stuff to go ahead and drink before you went back, and then you would be turned over back to your cadre. And so then you're back into basic training mode. And so really that starts back in July, or excuse me, June rather. And so going to July, I think you're finishing up in the beginning of August. And then once you finish up in August, that's the start of fall camp. So you're literally getting right out of basic training, going straight to fall camp all day. So it's a good time.
Sounds like it, man. So, what did you end up finishing at the Air Force Academy with? What did you do? What was your position following school?
Yeah. So ended up graduating with bachelor's science in business management, and so that's what I ended up graduating with. I did play football 3 years, and so my senior year I ended up being a student coach. Due to honestly, I wanted to go play much. Going into my senior year, I had a couple injuries, and then we just had some younger dudes that were just dogs, and so they definitely deserved the field more than I did, and so they ended up playing, and so I knew I wanted to be a part of football. And so student coaching was definitely an option for me. And so I got to do that, got to work with the running backs pretty good. And so I ended up doing a decent job with that, I would say. Um, that I ended up applying to be a grad assistant. And so I got selected. They choose about 4 people every year to be grad assistants. And so 2 people get to actually stay up on the academy to coach, and then 2 people get to go to the prep school. And so I got to go to the prep school and coach, which it's not a red shirt year, but it kind of is for some athletes. And so I got to go down there and coach with them. I was running backs coach, and then also I was their strength and conditioning lead as well. And so got to do that for a year as a second lieutenant in the Air Force for my first job. So that was awesome. Following that, ended up going to Charleston for 4 years. And so I'm a logistics officer. So got to work logistics things in Charleston, Joint Base Charleston. And so did that 4 years. Following that, I ended up going to ROTC. So I got to teach kids about the Air Force, college students rather, about the Air Force at the University of Alabama. So did that about 2.5 years, and then from there ended up coming up to where I'm at right now in the DMV area at Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland. So that's kind of been my career up until this point.
So, Ace, did you see yourself as a coach? I know you had that opportunity coming out of, your senior year, really kind of pivoting. I think it's tough a lot of times when that athlete part of your life ends and you kind of got to figure out what's going to be next or how you can kind of stay involved in the sport you love. Did you see yourself as a coach?
Absolutely, and still do. That is one of the things that I am extremely passionate about. Absolutely love to do. Although now I'm starting to see kind of just with my day to day job, deal with a lot of the business side of things. And so that is definitely something I'm interested in, whether it's coaching or kind of dealing with operations, because I kind of deal with ops right now in my role. And so making stuff work. But I think I'm a coach at the end of the day. I would say so. I did get the opportunity to help out um, at the Senior Bowl in 2023, I believe, in January. And so I didn't coach too much or anything, but got to work with DBs a little bit. And that was a great experience. Shout out to my boy, Matt Kelly. He's a scout for the Vikings. I know. But he plugged me in with that. And so that was a great opportunity. And that kind of really just showed me a different side of coaching because I was only used to college, but going there, you got to work with a bunch of NFL teams and different NFL coaches, and so that really opened my eyes and definitely made me want to get my feet wet into that, jump into that at some point in this life.
So, Ace, on everyone's journey, you make a decision not really knowing the outcome. Can you give me a time you made a decision, just went for it?
Yeah, so I mean, really, it would be going to the Air Force Academy. That would be that decision. Uh, it's a big pivot for me, honestly, because I had no clue what to expect. I didn't really talk to anybody. Didn't really know much besides like my recruiters, my recruiting coaches, and things like that. I didn't take an official visit, but that was just a leap of faith, to be honest. That I just felt that this was God pushing me there. And so that's kind of what I did. So I definitely made that decision, having been committed already to another school and then just jumping into it. And I think it's paid off well. And so I would say that's definitely a moment of my life. Probably one of the biggest and the most impactful, to be honest, where I just jumped into something and did it.
Hey, so I love that, man. It was one of those things where, as you know, a lot of people, and there's nothing against that, they stay around where they grew up. They stay around the area, and I think that's great for some people. But I think there's such value in getting out there and exploring and experiencing something new. And of course, with something like the Air Force Academy, obviously a little different than the school you had planned to attend, but it was one of those things where I think it paid off for you to take that opportunity.
Absolutely. Definitely would not trade it, man. Um, it was a time. Let's just say that it was a time. Good days, bad days, but all in all, man, like I said, some of the best friends can go to any state just about in the U.S. and have friends there, man. So it's something I would never regret or never even, reconsider if I had to do it all over again.
And I'll admit, on a personal level, it's been great to see you travel different places because then I have a couch to crash on. I think I've kind of visited in most of those places, so it's always been a good time.
Absolutely. Definitely been there, man. And you're always welcome for sure.
So, title of the podcast, Into the Unknown, man. What are you working on now? What do you got going on in your world?
So right now, just really still doing the Air Force thing. That is my job. I do it well. And so I think we're gonna make this thing a career. And so see what happens. Like I said, I'm at year 10, and so just about year 10 rather. And so we'll see what these next 10 holds. But hey, I'm definitely interested in getting involved with football. And so I think if the right opportunity presented itself, we might dabble, you know. But for the most part, my lens is focused on kind of being the best officer I can be, leading the best way I can for my folks under me, man, and my peers, and just going from there.
What's the piece of advice you would have given to your younger self?
Ooh, hey, a piece of advice would probably be I feel like this is so cliche, but it's true, man. That tough times don't last, but tough people do. And so I think there is always a storm brewing. There doesn't matter what's going on. It's just really your reaction and how you kind of go about it and get through it. And so sometimes you got to put your head down, man, and just dive deep and just go. Other times is you're going through a storm, might be a little drizzle, but you're making it. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it's a blizzard. Kind of when I lost your phone in a blizzard. But but seriously though, that would probably be the best advice, man. You know, tough times don't last, but tough people do. So just you overcome it. Just keep working, keep pushing.
I love that outlook, man. And as we wrap up, bro, I just want to say I appreciated knowing you over the last 20 plus years. It's been a good time, man. I mean, I tell people when when you and Cam lived at my house, like you had my garage code. You guys were at the house more than I was sometimes, and man, it was just one of those really great experiences growing up.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. It was definitely a good time. It was sad when you went to college, man, because we'd still come over, but you wasn't down there to go kick it with, play Mario Kart and things like that. So, man, your parents, like I said, they are phenomenal. Definitely opened the doors for us and allowed us to come over, to keep coming over, even when you weren't there, man. And so it was great seeing them at the Packers game not too long ago. And so I'm just glad we can continue this relationship, bro. You like my brother, man. I love you. And so it's really just sweet, bro.
Appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon. I'll be out there to visit soon, I'm sure, man.
All right, let's make it happen.
That was another fun episode of Into the Unknown. I truly appreciate you taking the time to listen. And if it provides you any value or entertainment, I would love if you shared it with others, liked, subscribed, and really just help the podcast grow. Again, tell a friend, tell a foe, just anyone who might enjoy hearing some stories of people's own journeys and what got them to where they are today. Till next time.